Hello, welcome to the final edition of Issues with Jide in the year 2024. Here we'll talk about actions and inactions of those who shape our political and national landscape and how these impact us positively or otherwise. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Today on the show, we'll look at the good and the ugly sides of 2024 with a focus on the aspect of anti-corruption, national security, off-cycle elections, reverse political crisis, and local government autonomy. But then in the course of the program, we take our questions. But first, subscribe to our YouTube channel and drop your questions in the comment section. It's important to mention that we can only read comments with human names and the ones based on the subject matter. I have joining me via Zoom, the maestro himself, Babajide Kolade Tutoju. Let me start off by asking you, by starting off from the issue of corruption, because in July 2024, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime reported that over 70% of Nigerians refuse to pay bribes when solicited, indicating a shift in public attitude towards corruption. However, there are other reports of arrests and investigations into corruption cases, just as the ICPC making a recovery of over 13 billion naira in the month of September 2024 alone. So, given the recent UNODC reports, yet considering the ongoing challenges, how would you assess the current administration's anti-corruption efforts in 2024, and what impact have they had on the average citizen, Bikil?
There must be a lot of intel, actionable intel that the EFCC continues to get, that the ICPC continues to get, which lead them, intels that lead them to this um, process of crime and ultimately the identification of those who own those suspected process of crime. So I'm happy. I know we can do better, but I'm happy with the progress being made.
I was trying to say that the administration, you've actually said a lot about the anti-corruption strides of this
Okay.
administration. So, do you think that they are actually doing enough to convince the Nigerian, people? Because a lot of people believe that those in power are utilizing their power, their privilege to, steal Nigeria dry, blind, I should say. Do you think the government is actually on the right trajectory in against fighting against graft across the nation?
We, if anybody has an evidence of graft anywhere, instead of sitting on social media and peddling things that they cannot, peddling news that they cannot substantiate, let them come forward with the evidence that they have. This government sacrificed a minister who went against the norm to transfer funds into private accounts. She must have thought that she was an untouchable, but in the end, she was sacrificed. I'm not saying the people in government are not that they are not thieves, but I won't sit here and accuse people of theft when I do not have the evidence, and I will not go and write a book and accuse somebody of stealing of all kinds of things that I know that when I'm brought before a court of law, I will not be able to prove. I've come a long way in my career to know that you do not just peddle allegations against people. Well, in fact, what we cannot substantiate, we do not propagate. So all I know is that some progress is being made, and
That's
we are recovering a lot of money.
that's right.
You know how long it must have taken Emefiele and his ilk to put those duplexes together. Nobody was talking in the last administration. The former minister of, I mean, the former accountant general of the federation was stealing all that money And our former president, Muhammadu Buhari, actually even extended his stay as Accountant General. Somebody who should have been sent packing a long time ago. These are the things that we see. Better I do has been sacrificed. She even thought she would come back. It was a minimum, not want to damage his own reputation unnecessarily. They had to let her go. So I think that in terms of the way the people perceive the administration, the Tinubu administration is really, really conscious of the power of social media, and it does not want to do anything that will put it on the wrong side of the people, especially on social media. So it responds to some of these things, and at the end of the day, takes the decision that it believes is best. Yes, we cannot say, oh, everybody in government is a saint or that they are not stealing. What I'm saying is that I do not talk about things about which I have no evidence. And I will not write a book and make allegations against people when I cannot prove those allegations. So I will just leave it that people are free to say that people in government are stealing. But if they have their facts, it's best to come out with those facts.
Right. So let's move on. Another issue is because Nigeria continues to face multifaceted security challenges, including insurgencies, kidnappings, and communal violence. In light of the persistent security challenges across various regions of Nigeria, exemplified by the recent accidental civilian casualties during military operations in Sokoto, how much have we fared, and what sustainable solutions are necessary to effectively address these issues and enhance national security?
We have made so much progress. We have made so much progress. I was reading someone on social media who said this government has not achieved anything. Nothing can be further from the truth. A government that has succeeded in increasing our oil output, even the international community acknowledges that our oil output has gone up. You cannot say it has not achieved anything. It's only in your heart that you think that they have not achieved anything. People may choose to just ignore you, but it doesn't mean that they cannot provide evidence that progress is being made. Progress is being made in some areas. And you can't say a government that has been in office in 18 months has not achieved anything. That is a lie from the pit of hell. Now, talking about security, there is improvement, significant improvement. I say this as one of the journalists in our country who tracks development in the area of security in our country. And I've put my life at risk on so many occasions just to be able to say with finality, that, okay, this is what is happening in this area, this is what is happening in that area. There was a time when you could not travel along the Abuja Kaduna Highway without the risk of being kidnapped. Today, people even traveled as late as 10 p.m. on that road. No one can deny that, except people who are ignorant. In Kaduna State, especially the people of Southern Kaduna, you cannot you cannot say that there's no improvement in that area. The way they used to kill people in Kaduna, the way they used to kidnap people in Kaduna State, especially in Kaduna, that has that's no longer happens. There is significant development, there is significant improvement in that area. And when you even move away from Southern Kaduna, we had this problem in December of last year. December, even on Christmas Day, they slaughtered more than 100 people in the Mangu area of Plateau State. Since the coming of Major General Abdul Salam, GOC 3rd Division, security in Plateau State has significantly improved. I interviewed the governor. The governor admitted that. I spoke with people in July when I went to Plateau State, and they admitted that security has improved tremendously in their state. I do not just sit down in my offices wearing PIAO suits to analyze places that I've not been to. I went there and I can report that there's significant improvement in security in Borno State. There is tremendous improvement in security in Borno State. The era in which Boko Haram was slaughtering our soldiers has gone. Boko Haram no longer attacks military bases the way they used to do, whereby even super camps were not safe. Today, Borno State is, in terms of security, Borno State has experienced tremendous improvement. The governor will testify to that. The people of the state will testify to that. There's even greater harvest because more and more farmers are able to access their farms in that part of our country. No one is saying that, oh, improvement is tremendous. But across the country, we still hear of bandits operating with reckless abandon in Zamfara, in Katsina, and Sokoto State. But in Kebbi, security has improved significantly. I used to track development in all of those places. I can tell you that it's just occasionally that those things happen. So even bringing Gwari the highway, people now use the bringing Gwari highway in Kaduna State. So there's tremendous improvement in security. But when a few security breaches happen, our people magnify it and make so much noise about it. In the southwest of our country, Amotekun has done a tremendous job, especially Amotekun Ondo State. They make arrests. They are like our first line of defense in the southwest. They make
That's
a lot of arrests. If you go to Amotekun office, you see a lot of people have been arrested and they put them on trial. They are doing a fantastic job. Amotekun in Ondo State is a model that other states can copy. And in Lagos State, how often do you hear of kidnapping and all that, or even carjacking? There is tremendous improvement. Look at the way the police in Lagos State in the course of the year dealt with kidnappers inside a busy Lagos market. They slaughtered them. They were killed right inside their vehicle. They didn't even allow because they got actionable intel and they moved in quickly and good for nothing people. Yes, in the southwest, we need to see a greater effort placed on securing the people. But when you look at a state like Enugu, Enugu is far better protected now than before. We still have issues with Anambra and Imo in terms of the activities of the unknown gunmen. But these things, we have to keep working at these things. We have to keep working. When you look at the number of bandit leaders that have been eliminated, that it is much higher than before. So there's intense military campaign across 5 states, and we are seeing the result of that. The Lakurawa guys that have lately constituted a thorn in the flesh of the armed forces, I'm confident that they will be dealt with. I'm very confident. Nobody is joking with these guys. Yes, we have made progress in the area of in
absolutely.
security. We've made progress. I can
Absolutely.
report. I can defend that. I can provide facts to support what I'm saying. There are areas where we need improvement, and we must keep working at it. And in terms of capacity, even in our armed forces, they're getting more weapons. Look at the Air Force acquiring more than 12 airplanes in one day. It's unprecedented. The president has really supported the armed forces with equipment in a manner that is very, very impressive. And the Air Force will tell you that they've never had it this good.
Mm.
To have access to all of those weapons at once. No, it's unprecedented.
Interesting. So many things. You've actually touched on so many things, especially the issue of the Southeast, which Southeast, which I wanted to mention. But I may want you to just quickly touch on the fact that Simon Ekpa had been arrested, and then he's also one way or the other in custody of the Finland security authorities. Do you think his arrest has actually, paid well? it has actually helped the Southeast to, have some semblance of peace to some extent.
Oh, it's just good news. It's just good news, but it may not it may not put an end to the problem. We just have to keep working hard. Just have to keep working hard and deny these guys the latitude to operate in that area because they seem to think that they can get away with killing policemen, killing innocent people, telling them not to work on Mondays. I'm happy with the arrest of Simon Ekpa in Finland. Hopefully, his trial will begin and he will be put where it belongs. And that message, I'm sure, will get to our people, and our people will realize that look, it pays to um, to take peace seriously. It pays to obey the laws governing our country and even governing your country of habitation. So I want to see uh, improvement in security in the southeast. There's improvement in security in the south-south, no doubt about that. So the southeast, we want to also see significant improvement. In the course of the year, the twin policies of naira flotation and subsidy actually inflicted so much pains on our people, and it led to the protests, which swept through some parts of our country, especially the northern part of our country. At the end of the day, the people who were arrested or taking part in those protests were treated to sumptuous meal uh, by the government. They were hosted by VP Shetima
That's right.
and made to eat sumptuous meals that you and I don't get to eat regularly. And the what also our people will remember 2024 for is the minimum wage. Now we now have a new minimum wage. Some states have elected to pay above the 70,000 naira minimum wage. That is a good thing that we now have a new minimum wage. Uh, when you also look at the tax reform bill was one of the biggest issues. The debate continues. The president said during the media chat that if he needs to negotiate, he will negotiate, but that the tax reform bill has come to stay. Maybe some of the provisions there will be removed or rejigged or tweaked, just so that we can achieve peace. Talking about power supply, 2024 comes to mind as a terrible year. That year alone, this 2024, we had 12 grid locks. 12 grid collapses. And those grid collapses show that the transmission leg in the electricity supply value chain remains problematic. The sector is in crisis. The Gencos are being owed more than 2 trillion naira. In fact, Transcorp Power alone, owned by Lumelu, is owed more than 200 billion, I think about 240 billion or so. The minister promised that, okay, about 250 billion. The minister promised that we will generate and will 6,000 megawatts in the year 2024. But we're doing on the average 4,000 megawatts. So we didn't meet that target. All of the 28 power plants in our country would not consistently deliver more than 4,000 megawatts. It's a big
Absolutely.
shame, really. If South Africa can be generating more than 48,000 megawatts daily, why should Nigeria, the so-called giant of Africa, be doing just 4,000 megawatts? So it's a year of so many good and terrible things. And I think on the final note, and look at this year, the food put a blot on this year. To forget for Nigerians, more than 70 people dead in stampedes, badly organized by our people. So in future, the police should be involved in crowd control to help them. We'll distribute palliatives, but we must organize it and do it well. So, and I would say uh, my sympathies to the families of those who lost their lives in those stampedes.
Absolutely. So let's move on to political development or political issues in the course of 2024. Amid the ongoing political tensions in Rivers State, highlighted by the animosity between Governor Simla Ifubara and his erstwhile godfather, which was further complicated by disputes within the State House of Assembly and the Supreme Court's nullification of the 2024 budget due to constitutional breaches. What measures can stakeholders implement to restore stability and ensure effective governance in Rivers State, at least in 2025 and beyond?
It's a difficult question to ask. I don't think Wike and Fubara are interested in peace. They are both committed to a war of attrition. And in this case, either party is not prepared for peace. They think that victory will come their way. So they are both committed to pushing, hard for that victory that they believe will come their way. As I've said repeatedly, the court will decide the fate of both men. Everything is hinged on control of the State House of Assembly. Governor Fubara and his people believe that the assembly members have lost their seats. The assembly members are insisting that they've not lost their seats. So for now, the battle for control of that state remains. Wike took control of the structures of the PDP in the state. Maybe when the leadership of the PDP at the national level changes, things can change again and put the governor firmly in control, as it is the case in other states. The governor is supposed to be the leader of the political party in the state. But in the case of Rivers, that is not the case. And Wike now controls the structures of the PDP, which pushed the governor to get his local government chairmanship aspirants to contest on the platform of a different party, because he knows that they cannot contest on the platform of PDP, which is the original party. How the structures haven't been taken over by. So for now, it's best both men to maintain the peace and wait for those outstanding issues to be decided by the courts, because their supporters are urging them on not to give up, not to give room for peace. And look, victory will come your way. Just hang on there. We've told them that there's a need to come together, but I know that they will not listen. And the political leaders in the state, the elders in the states, are unable to intervene in this matter and even um, work for rapprochement between both men, because they've already taken side. And where you taking side with a particular actor in a conflict like this, the other side will not want to have anything to do with you. If as a leader you take side and you call for a meeting, they will not attend because they know that you've taken side already. They know that they won't get a fair deal from you. So this is the situation. When people ask, are there not leaders in the state? The leaders in the state are compromised already. They all elected to pitch their tents with with particular persons in the conflict. So because of that, it's difficult for those leaders to say, okay, let's meet, let's resolve this matter. It's just not going to happen. It is the courts that will resolve this matter. I've said that repeatedly. We are waiting. In the year 2025, I'm confident that the the big issues will be resolved. Then
Well,
after that, hopefully we can have stability, we can have a semblance of peace, uh, political, political, uh, how do I call it? The political turbulence in that
right.
state will hopefully come to an end once those issues are resolved. And then the political battle can shift to 2027.
Mm. Well, others will say all the battles we see currently, all the strife we're seeing currently, are actually geared towards the 2027 general election. Well, it remains to be seen what's going to happen at the end of the day. But then we need to quickly move on because of our time. The last issue for discussion on the program issues with today is looking at the local government autonomy because on July the 11th, 2024. Nigeria Supreme Court issued a landmark ruling affirming the financial and administrative autonomy of local governments, declaring it unconstitutional for state governors to withhold funds or appoint caretaker committees. Despite this, some state governors have resisted implementing these changes, hindering progress towards true local government independence. So, BKO, to what extent do you think this has pushed to what extent has this actually pushed for autonomy impacted grassroots governance in 2024, and what obstacles remain in achieving full implementation?
You know, when you look at the last local government elections held in our country, governors were literally writing names of winners. The people did not really have a say. Governors were writing figures. Governors were so shameless that they were writing names of winners of the local government election. In most cases, we didn't see election results. We deserve to see election results from polling unit to polling unit. Where did we see that? In all of the states where the local government elections were conducted. We didn't see that. No result sheets. No polling unit by polling unit tallying of results and all that. These results were simply written by desperate governors who wanted to put their own people in charge of the local government so that they can have access to those funds. They've been used to tampering with the funds of local governments for years. And I remember even the EFCC investigating Bukola Saraki as governor of Kwara State. On that score, the governors behave like the funds of local governments belong to them. And if as a local government chairman you complain, you will lose your position. This is what governors do. Even in obeying the judgment of the Supreme Court, we said that they should organize election within a time frame of about 3 months. These governors deliberately made sure that their own people emerged. People talk about the need for electoral reform and electoral integrity in our country. They are the ones at the forefront of writing figures, falsifying election results, not organizing election at all in some places, but bringing results from those places. I mean, it's absolutely shameful. And the reason they are doing that is so that when they have their own people at the helm of affairs in the local governments, they can have access to those funds without being resisted. This is the goal. This is the agenda. And a governor told me that, oh, that even with the judgment, all he needs to do is call a local government chairman. It's okay. How much? So even if the Accountant General of the Federation sends funds due to local government directly to them, governors will still call those chairmen and tell them that they need so amount of money. So states are trying to even still organize joint accounts. The joint account that by the judgment of the Supreme Court has been outlawed. States are trying to still make sure that they continue this joint accounting so that they can have access to the funds of the local council. So a very good and laudable um, initiative to have autonomy at local government level is already being defeated by the evident greed of Nigerian governors. I see what is going on. I feel sad because I know that that judgment of the Supreme Court aimed at giving local governments autonomy and access to their funds direct from the federation account will ultimately be frustrated. They are not going to let it work. They need that money desperately. And as we approach another election year, it will get worse. Councils will not be allowed to have unfettered access to themselves, to their funds. Governors will demand some, if not most of that money. And it's already happening. Let's not kid ourselves. It's already happening.
Well, we just hope that we get things right, especially Nigerians holding this elective, those elected to these positions to account. But BKO, because of our time, we need to. But before we call it a wrap, I just wanted to. We are not able to touch on some other issues, but I just want a final thought as we go into 2025. There are issues of tax reforms. You've also mentioned the food crisis, inflationary pressures, etc. What are your prognosis? Let me just put it that way for 2025. May God spare our lives beyond this year.
I just hope that things will begin to improve. Mr. President knows that he has to have something that he can point to by way of helping to ease the pains of our people. As I always said then to former president, even if you build houses in the sky for people, if they are hungry, they will not show their appreciation to you. There are some good things happening. In terms of revenue, there's improvement in government revenue. In terms of debt to revenue ratio, debt servicing to revenue ratio, we've also improved, you know. But these are not what Nigerians uh, want to see. They want to see the prices of food come down. People want to be able to feed their families. The value of the naira, I sense that in 2025, the naira will appreciate further. But speculators are waging a war against us as a nation. When the naira began to appreciate some weeks back, the president of the Bureau de Change Operator said it will not appreciate beyond 1,500, that the speculators will work against it because it will mean that they will lose too much money. So the government has to grapple with people who are trying to frustrate its efforts.
The enemies of this
I
country.
know that we'll continue to improve in the area of security. Yes, real enemies. We'll continue to improve in security. As you can see, even fuel prices are going down. We want to see that happening across different sectors in our economy. This we want to see the naira especially. If the naira appreciates, the price of fuel will go down. If it appreciates rapidly, the price of fuel will go down almost to the point of even 700 naira per liter. Because at 923 naira per liter, if the war in Ukraine ends, the war between Russia and Ukraine, if it ends today, the price of crude oil will go down. And what Nigerians pay for crude oil will also go down drastically. But what that also means is that we will not be able to earn a lot more. So we will lose in terms of our earnings, but Nigerians will be able to afford. Nigerians will be able to uh, uh, experience low prices or lower prices of petroleum products, which is very, very important. So I'm confident that things will continue to get better across many areas. But I want to see the naira appreciate because I know it affects every other thing. If the naira appreciates further today, it will affect, will have a kind of ripple effect on so many things, and that's what we want to see. The flotation of the naira is at the heart of the pains that our people are going through. It's not even the subsidy removal, it's the decline in the value of the naira. The decline in the value of the naira going as far as 1,500 is the reason petrol prices are this high. They wouldn't have been this high if not for the fact that our naira, our currency declined rapidly. And crude oil is benchmarked in dollars. So this is the thing. I want to see the
Well,
naira appreciate against the dollar. That is my greatest wish
yeah.
for 2025 because I know it will affect a lot of things. Industries, manufacturing, then everything
Mm.
will be affected, will be impacted by this. Importation of goods will be affected by it. So that's my wish, and by God's grace, that will happen.
Amen, Big Hill. Well, that's our show for today's edition. As a matter of fact, the 2024 edition of Issues with Jide. Special thanks to you, Babajide Kolade for those insightful analyses. As always, all through the year 2024, we look forward to having a bigger, better Issues with Jide with you, Big Hill, in the year 2025 and beyond.
Thank you, Ibrahim. I promise our viewers that 2025 will see us improve tremendously as a program. We'll continue to um, provide insightful commentary on national issues. We'll continue to be objective. We'll continue to speak the truth to power. We have no choice. Nigeria must get better in our time. And we want to see Nigeria begin to get better in the year 2025.
Well, thank you to our audience for keeping our company on every edition, especially in 2024. We look forward to seeing you in 2025. You can see the program again anytime by subscribing to our YouTube channel, TVC News Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button to get the latest information. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at TVC News NG. I'm also at Ibrahim_Shita. On behalf of the rest of the team, I'm Ibrahim Shita. See you again in 2025 and bye for now.